Please make sure you read and fully understand this disclaimer before continuing with this yoga practice. Coming down onto the mat, starting in Shavasana today. So maybe bending through the knees if you have any lower back issues. I like to keep my knees bent, just a slight bend in them most of the times. Or you can extend the legs out fully. And taking the arms beside the body, palms either facing in toward yourself or up toward the ceiling. Slight tuck of the chin, so the forehead is above the chin, activating through our vagus nerve, so releasing that, helping us to activate the relaxation response in our body. Softly closing over the eyes if they aren't already. Taking some time here to check in with ourselves. Letting the outside world melt away while we come into all four corners of the mat. And taking a scan from the crown of your head all the way through the body, going nice and slow. Coming down to the tips of your toes. Noticing how the body feels today. So maybe you've noticed you're holding on to some tension and maybe some discomfort in the body. In yoga, we don't bring any judgment, any stories attaching to what's going on in the body. It's just as it is. Now I invite you, if you're feeling any tension, to take the breath to that space. For the next few breaths, exhale that tension out of the body. Just focusing on that breath, body connection. Relax, release on the exhale breath. And bending through the knees, taking the shins parallel to the mat. We're going to start waking up through the core, so we're working on balance today. Toe tapping here, so taking that right foot down, bringing it back up, left comes down. So making sure that you're squeezing through the belly here, the lower part of the spine is pressed down onto the mat. If you wish to maybe explore a little further, maybe extending the leg out, so nice straight leg. Exhaling, extending the left leg out. Inhaling it, drawing back. Exhaling right. Inhaling back. So coordinating that breath, the movement. Drawing your knees into your chest. Maybe giving a bit of a rock from side to side, massaging through the back. And then slowly making your way back up into a comfortable seated position. So coming into Sukhasana, taking the chest toward the left knee, over toward the right knee, and then coming back. So making little circles here, warming up through the spine, opening up through the chest on the inhale. Exhale, squeezing the belly into the spine, doming through the back. Inhale, sweeping forward. Exhale, coming back. So feeling the spine Visualize, sense and see what it's doing, and coming into the opposite direction. So making sure those sit bones are rooted down into the mat. Your circles might look smaller than mine. It's not about what it looks like, it's about what it feels like within the spine. That heart opening on the inhale as it sweeps forward and then coming back to center. Taking the right ear toward the right shoulder. I nearly lost my words then. Then tucking chin to chest, rolling the left ear toward the left shoulder. So making sure those shoulders are back and down away from the ears though. You don't want to bring the shoulders up toward the ear. Then tucking chin to chest again. So warming up through the neck, maybe staying in half circles, or if you wish to take the full rotation, you can, lengthening out through the front side of the neck. And checking in with how the neck feels. Is there any tightness, any soreness? Maybe staying in a particular spot just to iron out that crease. I love warming up through the neck, coming into the opposite direction now. It always feels so good. I also invite you to keep your eyes closed as well. And just really tapping into how the body feels. That's what yoga is all about, making that connection with yourself. So quite often we don't really get the opportunity to check in with how we're actually feeling, how the body's feeling. We're so distracted with things that are going on around us. And coming back to center, rolling over onto all fours now, into a tabletop position, making sure that your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are directly underneath your hips, spreading the fingertips far and wide apart and the thumbs are drawn into the midline. Extending the right leg out at hip height, flexing through that right foot, engaging through the core, maybe exploring a little more by extending that left arm out. It's okay if you wobble here. We're building those muscles in the midsection. And don't feel that you have to go into certain shapes as well, so it's just all about exploring. You don't have to be anywhere. Extending out that left leg now, making sure that the hips are square as well. And then maybe taking that right arm out. Noticing the core engaged, really taking your focus and awareness there. And then coming back to center. Tucking the toes under, sending the tailbone up toward the ceiling, keeping bent knees here for downward facing dog. Making sure that the spine is nice and straight, maybe pedaling out through the feet. Reaching that tailbone up toward the ceiling, pushing the hands into the mat. Maybe rolling forward into high plank, shoulders are above the wrists, and pushing back into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, pushing back. If this doesn't feel good though, notice that and don't continue with it. So we all have different bodies on different journeys, different people watching these videos. Coming onto your tippy toes, walking the feet all the way up toward the hands. Taking the feet hip distance apart, bending through the knees, holding onto opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll. Then slowly swaying the torso from side to side. Really feeling those hamstrings lengthen, feeling the compression, the tummy onto the thighs. Notice how fast you are moving, or if you are fully present within ragdoll. Another thing that I like to do in ragdoll is softly close over the eyes. In fact, throughout the practice, it feels really good to close over the eyes. Taking the fingertips, running them up through the front of the legs, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, taking the arms up. Exhale, drawing hands to heart center, palms together. Inhale, taking a deep breath in. Exhale, folding forward, bending through the knees, hinging at the hips, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Taking the right leg back into low lunge. Releasing the knee, untucking the toes, rolling the shoulder blades back and down. So heart is opening here. Feeling the release, the right hip flexor. Tucking the toes under, sending that left leg back into high plank. Releasing the knees onto the mat, engaging through the belly, so the lower part of the ribs and the navel want to meet, so really making that engagement. And then drawing the elbows in toward the side body, coming down for a chaturanga push-up. And slowly coming all the way down, melting the heart down onto the floor, rolling the shoulder blades back. Inhale, coming into baby cobra. Exhale, melting down. And then pushing back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, coming onto your tippy toes, bending through the knees, walking the feet up towards the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, nice straight spine. Exhale, folding forward, taking those fingertips, feeling that beautiful connection of touch, giving yourself nice love and attention. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, coming straight down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, heart wants to open forward. Exhale, folding forward. Taking the left leg back this time, releasing the knee, untucking the toes, rolling the shoulder blades back and down, making sure they're away from the ears. Nice deep breaths here. Releasing the hands onto the mat, untucking the back toes, lifting up through the knee, stepping the right leg back into high plank. Releasing the knees onto the mat, untucking the toes, elbows drawn into the side body, engaging through the core, coming down for a chaturanga push-up, coming all the way back up, then lowering down, all the way down onto the mat. Rolling the shoulder blades back. Inhale, cobra, engaging through those back muscles. Exhale, releasing down, pushing back up into tabletop position, tucking the toes under, coming back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, coming onto your tippy toes, bending through the knees, walking the feet up towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, folding forward. Running those fingertips all the way up, engaging through the core as we roll up. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, hands draw into our heart space. And taking 2 centering breaths here. And then releasing the hands out toward the side. So I'm going to come face on today. You can stay at the top of your mat. I invite you to softly close over the eyes, the arms beside the body, palms facing forward. Feet hip distance apart, and I invite you to take your weight over onto your right side. Feel how the body works as we take the gravity toward the front. And maybe over toward the left, and onto the heels. Now I invite you to come into your center, the place where it's still, feels nice and calm, safe. Feeling what you're feeling in this space. slowly coming out. So coming into our first balancing asana, into tree pose, taking your weight into your left leg, taking the right leg up and out, and taking it to, you can either rest the toes onto the mat or taking the right foot up toward the ankle, calf, avoiding the knee, or maybe coming up into the thigh, inner thigh. So really pushing that foot into the thigh, and then the thigh is also active as well, so we don't want to jut out through that left hip. You can see I'm dancing a little bit here, and that's completely normal. Taking our hands to heart center, or you may want to play a little bit here, exploring. I always love doing balances. I never take anything seriously, so maybe a smile on the face. It's all about just creating. What can you create today? What shape can you create? It's not all about being so serious. And then coming all the way back, hands to heart center. And then slowly releasing the right leg down onto the mat. Shaking out any tension, any stories that you may be telling yourself. In balancing asanas, I invite you to really listen to your self-talk. So notice what it's saying. Taking the weight now into the right leg. Tiny micro bend into that standing leg as well. We don't want to lock out through the joints. And taking the left foot to the ankle, calf, or the inner thigh. And with any balancing asanas, we really want to switch on our center, so engaging through the core as well, and making sure that the shoulders aren't up toward the ears, so checking in there. And taking the hands, palms together. You can stay at heart center or maybe come up and out, even into a mudra of your choice. So I like to bring the mudra of the index finger and thumb together. If you wish to test your balance even further, maybe taking the gaze up toward the ceiling. Remember to smile. And then bringing the hands back to our heart space. And then slowly, with control, releasing that left foot down onto the mat. Shake it out. Shake, shake, shake. Awesome. Well done, everyone. So coming into another balancing asana. Inhale, taking our hands, arms up toward the ceiling, and then our right foot, so coming up off of the mat, it may even just come slightly off, or you can try and do what I'm doing here, taking the leg up into a 90-degree angle. So making sure that you're engaging through the core here. Option here is to come back into Dekasana, kicking that right foot back. Arms come beside the body. So really reaching those arms back, flexing through that right foot, squaring off through the hips. Gaze is looking down. Inhale, coming back into stork. It's okay if you fall out of the pose. It's not about being perfect in our balancing asanas. It's just about showing up, having a go. Shaking everything out, all the tension. Resetting here, grounding through that right foot as we inhale, come up to stork on the left side. Left leg comes up. Nice deep breaths, focusing on a point that isn't moving. So this is called your dristi point, and we talk about this a lot in yoga, especially with balancing asanas. Kicking the left leg back, coming into Dekasana, flexing through that left foot, squaring off through the hips. Tiny micro bend in that standing leg again, protecting the joint of the knee. Are you breathing? Don't forget to breathe here. Slowly coming back up into stork pose. Nice deep breaths. And then exhale, releasing, pedaling out through the feet here, shaking it all out. Making our way down onto the floor now. So slowly coming down, Bending through the knees and then slowly rolling down for the count of 10, 9, engaging through the core, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've got to speed that up. Lucky you guys today. So settling down here onto our mats, drawing the right knee into the chest, interlacing the fingers across the shin, compressing through the ascending colon, making sure that the shoulders are down, away from the ears, anchoring down onto the mat, taking some rotations of the ankles. So we've just worked on our balancing asanas. It's important to look after the foundations, our ankles. You may notice them dancing around a little bit in your asana practice while working through your balancing. So it's important to release any tension that we may be feeling in that space. Switching over the legs now, the left knee draws into the chest. We're massaging through the descending colon this time. And taking some rotations of the ankles one way and the other. And then slowly releasing both legs out. And bending through the knees. Coming into Vipariti Karani, also known as legs up against the wall, which you can use a wall for, but if you don't have access to a wall, you can just take the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. You can also use a block, placing it underneath the sacral part of the spine, so the lower part of the spine, for support. If your legs get a little too tired here, you can bend them and take the soles of the feet down for a rest. If you are using a wall, coming all the way back onto the wall, so sit bones, soles of the feet, right towards the back of the wall, and then slowly rolling over onto your side and kicking the legs up at the wall at the same time. So bringing the feet together. You may have to adjust the torso as well, just do a little bit of shuffling just to get really nice and comfortable here. It's a beautiful, beautiful pose for balancing out the energies. It's one of my all-time favorites, especially if you are using a wall. That is probably preferable for me personally, but might not be for you, and that's completely fine. It's great for anyone experiencing any swollen ankles, fluid retention in the ankles. Just feeling that release off of our feet, which is so good. A lot of us are on our feet all the time. It's nice to give them a bit of a break. And then slowly taking them down. Now, if you are on the wall, I will explain coming out of that pose as well. So what you need to do is you need to draw the knees into the chest, really squeeze them into the chest, and then slowly rolling over onto a side that feels good and right for you. There is sometimes no graceful way of coming out of this pose when you're up against the wall. So yeah, it does take a little bit of practice, so go easy on yourself or just have a bit of a laugh. So drawing the right knee into the right hand, the left knee into the left hand, just taking some circles, massaging through the lower part of the spine in one direction and then in the opposite direction. This feels always so good for me when I massage through the lower part of the spine. And then coming into our final meditation, our final Shavasana. So again, like we did at the start of the practice, if it feels more comfortable for you to have bent knees, feel free to do so. Softly closing over the eyes, palms facing in toward yourself or up toward the ceiling. If you do find it challenging to stay present within your Shavasana, sometimes what I will do is have my hands resting onto my belly and just being able to feel the rise and the fall of the belly in line with my breath really helps me to anchor into the present moment and get the most out of my Shavasana. So that's just something that maybe you could experiment with and just see if that works for you. If not, that's okay. So just taking the next 30 seconds or so to get really nice and comfortable within your Shavasana. If you have any eye pillows, that's highly recommended as well. Making sure that the forehead is above the chin, so sometimes it's really nice to have a little blanket underneath the head as well for some support, activating through our vagus nerve, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, a relaxation response. Taking a scan of the body from the crown of the head down toward the tips of the toes. And release any tension. Let the whole body be soft. Let the whole body be soft. Let the whole body be soft. I'll mind the time and guide you back. Simply witness the breath moving in and out of the body. If you wish to stay a little longer in Shavasana, feel free to do so. If you wish to come out of Shavasana, maybe taking some small movements with your body, just do whatever feels good and intuitive for you. There is no right or wrong. In your own time, rolling over onto a side that feels good and right for you. And taking a few more moments here to rest, to integrate, to notice what came up within your practice today. And then slowly making your way back up into a comfortable seated position. Taking a deep inhale breath, palms together on the exhale breath, coming back to heart center. And just a reminder, taking your thumbs up toward the forehead, a reminder to yourself to think kind thoughts. Bring the thumbs to your chin, a reminder to speak kind words. And coming back to your heart center to give as much love to yourself and others. Namaste.